The real leaders and legends of our community are those who put others first and strive to leave our city better than they found it. For one local entrepreneur, that meant a career in the lumber business that would lead to building knowledge and culture. Or how about a local Savannah man who's been putting the social and social network for 100 years? And for one community leader, the challenges of the past several years have taught him that education means more than spelling and math. When Joe Buck tells you he's from the country, you need to take him seriously.
I'm from really rural Alabama, and I'm sure you probably talked to someone who told you that my phone number was 8.
From Thomaston, Alabama to Auburn University, the Navy then took a young ensign, Joe Buck, to San Francisco, where his life would change forever.
I had a blind date on New Year's Eve and met my wife, Marilyn, and that's where we had a blind date, and I think it was 45 days later, we were engaged, and I left and went on another Vietnam cruise.
While in graduate school, another blind date would bring the couple to Savannah.
Suddenly was interviewed at Florida State for a job in Savannah, Georgia, interestingly for me, which I had never heard of, and had certainly never heard of Armstrong State College. And so we came up for the interview and got the job, and when I came to Armstrong, the first 4-year class had just graduated 2 months before, and we had a total of 1,500 students at Armstrong.
That chance interview led to a 38-year career at Armstrong, and in 2006, Joe was ready to retire, settle down, and enjoy some well-deserved rest and relaxation.
I retired from Armstrong, and I was all set to, I have a little small consulting company, and I was gonna, write a book, get rich consulting and that kind of thing. And I was at a meeting of the chamber, and some men and women said, "We've got to find somebody to run for school board president. Joe, you're it." And I said, "Oh, no. I'm never running for office. I never will, don't want to," that kind of thing. And as it was, over a space of a few days, I did a lot of praying about it, a lot of thinking about it, and decided to run.
Armstrong also helped shape Savannah native Herbie Griffin, who first attended after graduating from Benedictine Military School in 1938. His involvement with Armstrong has produced some truly impressive stats, and he might not be done just yet.
When I graduated Armstrong in '42, I kept close to all the presidents and vice presidents, and in 1948, I was elected chairman of the Armstrong alumni, president of the alumni. And again in 1998, I was elected president of the alumni, 50 years apart. I also told them if they wanted to be the president in 2048, I'd see if I could.
From his education at BC and Armstrong to his time spent in the service, then a career with Colonial Oil, Herbie learned the importance of giving back. During his time as chair of the city's Recreation Commission in the early 60s, his efforts could have led to some significant changes for one Savannah neighborhood.
I contacted the Jacksonville Zoo and asked them how they operated and what they did, and they said that they would give us all the animals free of charge, but we had to house them and have the land for the zoo, and we had a lot of land, the city did, in Bacon Park, and we thought about putting it out there. However, the mayor and aldermen at that time were not in a position to furnish the money for the zoo, so that went by the board.
But for many Savannians, he's Coach Griffin. And that all started one night with a phone call from his wife's cousin to see if he was available.
And my wife said, "Of course he is." She didn't even turn around and ask me, "Can you coach? Or can you do this?" Of course he is. So I coached St. Vincent's basketball team from 1952 to 1975.
As Herbie was starting his coaching career, the Army brought Don Kole to Georgia. And between the racism and the politics of the time, he didn't like what he found. Well, he did find one reason to like the South.
Yes, I happened to meet a Southern girl, which is how many Yankees came to the South. I met a young lady who was a native of Savannah and met her at Savannah Beach, and I've been on the beach ever since.
Along with Kay's hand in marriage, the Robinsons had one stipulation for their would-be Yankee son-in-law.
But my mother-in-law said, you can marry my daughter. My daughter was at the 19, Kay was 19, so, but you got to stay in Savannah, Georgia and work for your father-in-law. And that's how I ended up in the lumber business.
Don and Kay would stay in Savannah and help to turn Bay Street Lumber from a small family business into Build-A-Rama, a successful chain of hardware stores across Georgia and South Carolina. They did, however, find the time to get away and see the world.
And we did a tremendous amount of traveling. We have traveled the world several times and just enjoyed it and getting to know people from all walks of life and ways of life.
When you ask Don what's the most important part of running a large company, he has a simple answer.
The people make everything. People make the business, and people make happy customers. So I think the human equation is the most important thing. If you have good people, you can succeed. If you don't have good people, you're going to have problems.
At Senior Citizens Incorporated, we also believe that people are our most important resource, and it is our mission to help people age successfully. We accomplish that goal through programs like Meals on Wheels, where we deliver fresh, locally made meals to a senior's door, along with a friendly smile. Our Ruth Bick Adult Day Health Center, overseen by a registered nurse, is where we offer support for those who can benefit from some daytime supervision, companionship, and physically and mentally engaging activities. In-home services assist in personal care, nursing, housekeeping, companionship, and transportation. And then there's the Learning Center, where you'll find humanities-based courses, discussion groups, and skill-building workshops to further your education at any age. And speaking of education, when we left Joe, he had just decided to run for president of the Savannah-Chatham Board of Education.
And it was truly the defining moment of my life, because I had always thought Armstrong was my reason to be. And suddenly I realized that I could take higher education and transfer it to K-12 education and pull in my own leadership skills and make it into my real reason to be.
In his 2 terms as president, Joe has been faced with challenges no one could have predicted. Who could have imagined that in the face of a global pandemic, Savannah-Chatham schools would feed over 2 million meals off of school buses? But through it all, Joe remained dedicated to ensuring a quality education for all.
Education, K-12 education, has moved far beyond teaching reading and teaching math, but is now having to also teach mental health, how to be safe, how to be pleased with yourself, how to love yourself.
So now that Joe has decided to retire, for real this time, he's sure of it, what are his plans?
I've rediscovered jigsaw puzzles. I'm a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle person. I do a lot of walking. There's a little bridge up here close to my house, and that's Joe's prayer bridge. And I found during those last 2 years in particular, I spent a lot of time out there.
It's coming to an end, and I'm a little fearful, but I'm confident that once the end of this year, when his last 4 years of the second term gets finished, he will find something else, because someone will come to him and say, Joe, you're just the man we're looking for, because that's what happened last time.
And so I've really, if you say a life well lived, first of all, I love Marilyn Buck better than anything. I mean, after meeting her on a blind date, we've had a good time. and we still tap dance in the kitchen most mornings. And so that's part of living a life well lived.
Look at all the things that he's done and the awards that he's gotten. People have recognized it. I lived it. I live it now. But a life well lived is an honest life, a productive life, and a God-guided life.
I think he is just the kind of person who grew up understanding the value of community and supporting the community and being a big part of the community, and that's how he lives. He lives for his community and for his family.
Speaking of living for your community and for your family, that's something Herbie Griffin has been doing for 100 years now. We're not saying that the Fountain of Youth is at the Savannah Golf Club, but Herbie does play twice a week, so maybe someone should look into that.
I can't say that that golf is the reason, but I do enjoy playing golf, and I have little barbells I work with and so forth, but I do exercise some, and I try to eat right.
Well, if golf isn't his secret, then it's certainly his passion for community.
I enjoy people. I love to be around people, and I can just relate to people, and I sit and talk with them, and they enjoy being with me, they say.
He is the epitome of networking and helping others, and you know, if you can do this for me, I can do that for you, or I know so-and-so that can help you, and just being out in the community. And again, not to gain anything from it, but he really did enjoy it, really does still enjoy it, to his golf twice a week, or just going out to have a bowl of chili with his friends out at the golf club, to be around lots of people.
It's because of his general disposition. I mean, he's a cheerful person, and he's a generally positive person, and people want to be around that. Whether you're 25, 50, or 100 years old, people want to be around positive people, and his is real. It's not fake or put on, and you know, people are drawn to that.
On one of Don and Kay's trips, Don found himself drawn to African art. A chance visit in a small shop would spark a passion for the history, culture, and the craftsmanship of these pieces that compelled Don to share it with others.
And what surprised me was that people did not know about the art of Africa. Whether you were a black person or a white person, you didn't know there was art in Africa. And here we have this spectacular art. People just didn't spring from nothing to be in the United States. Where did they come from? What were their lives like in the old countries? And this is one way of showing that they come from ancient civilizations with proud traditions and proud art and proud government. And this is a way of connecting with the old countries.
That desire to share the art of Africa would lead Don to help establish the nationally recognized Savannah African Art Museum.
My office used to be a stable, and from a stable it became a garage, and now it's my office. And so once we got rid of the manure, everything has been working out nicely. And of course, I do not run the museum. We have a wonderful staff at the museum, but they do consult with me from time to time.
I mean, he gets 10 or 20 years younger, sorry, Don, whenever he talks about the museum. And just that he's continued, and the museum is what it is now for the community, is a blessing to this community.
And he's an unbelievable collector. He cares, as Tana said, he cares deeply about the artifacts that he's able to collect and share with people. And he really wants to share.
We've all recognized something in how he's lived his life that says he's living his life not only for himself, but for the benefit of others, and that's a life well lived.
In a loss to our entire community, Kay passed away last year. but Don has continued to uphold her example of stewardship and service.
She was a scholar. She was a writer, author of books. She had high standards, and myself and my children certainly had a hard time living up to her standards, but we tried.
For their tireless, lifelong dedication to making our community a better place, Don Kole, Herbie Griffin, and Joe Buck are our 2022 Life Well Lived Award recipients.
Well, the first thing you do is get involved with things other than yourself. Get involved with the community. Get involved with people. Do not become an isolated person. Do not become so self-serving that you don't realize how wonderful the world is. And that's my best advice, is to look outward, not inward.
Enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy the life you're living. And don't try to hide behind the bushel. Just get out and see people and meet people, enjoy people.
And if you can't give something to other people, you really don't deserve anything that you have, I think.